G'day guys, I'm here with John Bristowe from Telerik. Hey John.
Hi.
Thank you for giving me some time at TechEd.
Oh, not a problem. For you, anytime.
Okay, cool. So, how have you been enjoying TechEd?
TechEd's been awesome.
Yes.
We've been having a great time connecting with customers and going to sessions and learning a lot of great stuff.
Okay.
It's a wonderful event.
Yes, it is. A packed event, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been packed.
Yes, all right. That's, it's been great. No sheep jokes at TechEd New Zealand. You know that's not appropriate.
I don't. I'm
Yes.
still learning. So.
All right, okay. Look, I know you you talk about a lot of Telerik products.
Yes, yes.
Today, I want to drill in just to one,
Yep.
which I'm very interested in.
Okay.
I know it could be slightly boring, but it's just error handling. And it's this guy.
Yes, Equitech. Yeah, so it's a solution that we acquired the company called Equitech. They're based in Denmark, and
Okay.
so now we have a new office in Denmark.
Okay, very nice.
So yeah, application analytics are very important to a lot of developers, and the reason why is because they're going to actually tell you a lot about what's happening inside an application. So there are a lot of solutions out there, like Google Analytics, that people might be familiar with.
Yes.
One of the challenges with Google Analytics is that it can read the surface area of your application. That is, it can actually tell you, hey, these people come from this location. We see these sorts of artifacts from your application. But the thing that things like Google Analytics can't do is they can't actually drill down into the application and actually find out what's actually happening because it doesn't have that visibility. So a solution like Equitech provides you that visibility, and the way it does that is pretty simple. You just basically sprinkle your own code with a little bit of ours, and it's not much. It's like literally a couple of lines of code. And then from that, we have what's called a monitor, and that monitor does reporting back to a cloud-based service from which you can actually get all these analytics about how things are happening, where customers are coming from, what errors are being thrown. You can drill down into those errors. You get charts and graphs of how often they're happening, and gives you a lot more visibility into your apps.
So I'm very keen to look at this.
Sure.
I've just seen this page today.
Yep.
And I've got some screen captures here, which I wouldn't mind going through. But before I do that, could I just ask you a couple of questions?
Yeah.
Just to get in context for myself. This problem has kind of been solved already. You've got Elmah, E-L-M-A-H.
Yep.
And that's a free little tool that you install and essentially catches unhandled exceptions.
Correct.
Yours is essentially the same.
A little bit, but more.
But yours saves up to the cloud rather than locally?
That's a little bit, yeah. So the way that Elmah works is you have an HTTP handler, and from there that serves back a custom page, and that allows you to, depending on how you have it configured, you can actually see where exceptions are being thrown. Gives you a nice little stack trace and things like that. The way that we work is it's sort of similar to that. We do populate a cloud-based service. We generate charts and graphs to give you a sense of what's happening.
I'll open the first one.
Yeah, sure. So on this page here, you'll see that we're getting not only those errors and things like that, but we also can gather a set of what are called default sort of parameters or attributes of the environment. So one of the questions that often comes up is, who's actually hitting my site or who's hitting my application?
And I can see they're Windows 7 users mainly.
Yeah, so in this you can see that we actually have a large percentage of Windows 7 users. We can also drill down into the versions.
Of the framework.
And the other thing that we also provide is you can also see a chronological basis of that data. So you can actually move a slider on the back, on the bottom there, that will show you, how trends have occurred.
I can see in the last month that the uptake of .NET 5.1 has been significant.
The framework itself, yeah. So that would be associated with your app, and then further to that, you can filter on that data. So if you want to ask the question, what percentage of my users in Denmark or what percentage of my users in New Zealand have version 5.1, you can actually add a filter to do that well. So it's a little bit more than Elmah in terms of that.
Straight away.
Yeah.
So let me go on to this one.
Yeah. So in this view here, what we're doing is we're generating for you an exception timeline. This one's really useful if you are a developer and you've issued a new release, and then suddenly you see a huge spike in exceptions. You can be proactive as a developer to try and figure out where those exceptions are occurring. We give you that data. But in addition to that, you can actually see where and when those exceptions occurred. So as I said before, you can actually add a country filter. So if you have geolocation support or you have support for different locales, you may want to add a filter that says, hey, you're getting a lot of exceptions in Japan. You might want to figure out why, and then you can drill down into those exceptions and figure out.
All right, so why aren't these in red since these are bad things?
It's a good question, actually. Yeah, maybe we should think about that.
All right, so this is this what you were just referring to?
Yeah, so one of the things we do is, as I said, we gather some default personal information about where the app is being used. So based on IP, we show you there's a large percentage of users in these countries, and that will give you a general sense of where these things are occurring. It is important to note that our monitor supports more than just web apps. So we support .NET, we support Android, we support iOS. These are native monitoring apps. So they're great for mobile platforms. So you can actually trace where these apps are being used and see the percentages of them.
Okay, I'll go on to this one.
Yeah, so this one's showing you installation. So this one's good for validating loyalty. So you can see things like how many people are using your app, not only that, but how long they're using your app for. So these are really good data points to have when actually looking at the specifics of your application and trying to figure out, where can we make a bigger investment.
All right, so I can see a lot of new users came on in this time.
Yeah.
Maybe some marketing campaign, but I'm having trouble reading this one.
So what that is showing is, that's showing you loyalty. And loyalty is basically the number of times or the amount of time that's being spent inside your application. So return customers, things like that.
So this blue area is...
That one is...
These are 1 to 5 users or something?
That one is showing you the number of usages of a product based on the user itself. So in that case, you have a lot of first-time users or people who have gone back to the app just a few times. Okay. The people that this is a stacked area chart. So as you go further up the stack, these are people who are actually more loyal to your application. So that will give you a breakdown of the types of people who are using your app. So what you'd like to see is it trending towards people who are using your app more and more.
Yeah, that's right. Sticky apps.
That's right. Yep.
So we'll move along.
Yeah, so this is another feature that this is another capability of Equitech. This is called feature usage. So one of the things, in addition to errors, one of the things you might want to track is how many times a person has clicked a certain button.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so because that allows you to be proactive about, next features. So if you're a development team and you're like, a lot of times we make a guess, right? Like we think a lot of people are using that view report capability, but you actually don't have data to support that. And as a project manager, oftentimes you want to say, we should implement new features in this capability because that's our most popular feature. Without that data, you're just guessing. So we give you that data, and you can be proactive in terms of figuring out where you want to do your next iteration work. So okay. we track feature usage. We also track feature timings. So we can tell you how long a feature executed. So for example, if you have a part of your application that generates a report, you may want to actually time how long that is on average. So for some users, you may find out that report generation takes a long time, may take a short time. So you can actually do that. And you can track anything you want, basically. We give you basically free reign to actually track any type of feature.
Okay. All right, and that's an awesome way of getting rid of technical debt.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're in a sprint planning meeting, you want to get rid of a feature, but you're not sure, does anyone actually use it? I think no one uses this feature. You want validation to get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's again in that same vein of giving visibility to the developer and the developer team what's happening. That's part of this.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So I'll move on.
Yeah.
And we've got...
This is activity. This is based on usage.
Use it. Yep. All right, very cool. And what else? You got a lot of reports.
Yeah, so we generate a ton of data, as I said, we have some default ones that we include. We can give you a breakdown of versioning.
So can I look at a real one, because I've just got this guy.
Yeah.
I went to the sample. This is the
This is the demo account that we've created. So anyone who's watching this can actually go up to our website. There's a link on our page there that you can go ahead and try.
It says try. I click the blue button.
Yeah, that's right. You propagate some credentials there that we provide, and then you see a display like this.
This is what it might look like once you put this in your app and you've got some data.
That's right.
So,
yep.
All right, so this is the sample.
Yeah, so...
Now where do I go?
On the left-hand side there, you've got the breakdown of the reports that we showed. The real nice features I like are the developers reports. So specifically, if you go into the exceptions, that one. Now, what we provide here is a grid of exceptions that have been thrown inside your app. So if we sort by count, which is the fourth column or fifth column there.
By count.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
that one.
They'll show us the worst ones.
That's right. So these are sorting.
Actually sorts wrong by default.
That's right.
Okay.
So if we click on that guy, you'll notice there's a link in the first column there.
Yep.
What we get is actually a breakdown of that exception as well as the stack trace. So in addition to finding out what the exception is, we can actually find out where did the exception originate from. And that's critical for developers.
Right.
Yeah.
And running out of disk space is not very intelligent.
No. But in addition to that, you'll notice if we scroll down, you can actually see who got those exceptions. And this is useful because oftentimes you want to know what configurations people have to generate that exception. Now, one thing I will point out is if you go back...
That's much better than looking at a mass amount of data.
Yeah.
It's just already aggregated.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you go back to that exceptions report by just clicking on that icon that tree view exceptions list on the... that's right.
Which one?
Yeah, that one. There, right there. Yeah. So let's do one more thing. I want to show you this. So you'll notice the slider on the bottom. We've got that
yes.
timeline there. Let's just blow that out right all the way to the end.
All the way?
Yeah, all the way. So we're just showing all the data basically.
Okay.
So we'll just refresh the grid.
Okay.
So now we can see we got these aggregate reports that show us things that, what are our top bugs. The other thing I will show you, which is interesting, is you can actually filter by country. So underneath that timeline, you'll notice we have a data filter. So directly underneath the timeline on the left-hand side, it says data filter.
By
so
country?
if you want, so you want to filter by country. You want to find out which bugs were generated in which country. So if we filter by New Zealand, for example.
No, I prefer to do it by Australia.
All right, let's go with Australia. And we click on save. Yep.
Okay.
So these are all the exceptions that are generated within the Australian region. So
nice.
Yeah, so it gives you that breakdown. You can see what's occurring where.
Great.
And this can occur in some cases where you have different locales or you have encoding problems.
Nice.
As you know, with internationalization, you've got different currencies and date-time conversions you need to do. Those might generate exceptions.
Right.
So that's where that comes in useful.
Right, so just a small suggestion, John. Could you, by default, move this column to the first one, sort descending, and show us a little bit of red so I know I'm in the bad area?
Yeah, so just a little bit of transparency. We are updating this interface, so you should see an update for this very shortly.
Okay, cool. What else is cool?
So we've got the features as well, which are neat. So,
yes. Feature use.
Yeah, feature use is great for developers. So what we have here is...
So this is where it really goes beyond Elma.
Yeah.
Well beyond.
Yeah, so what we're doing here, we do have these capabilities, but we have them in very rudimentary ways. So in system.diagnostics and .NET, we can actually trace features and we can do all kinds of things like print statements and things like that, but it doesn't aggregate anything. We can aggregate that content here. So if we expand one of those things, what we're doing here is we're actually taking strings that you capture in your application as trace statements. Right. And then what we do is we just parse those and then chart them. So here in this example, the developer has gone about actually looking at various aspects of the GUI. So he or she has looked at the GUI and said, we have two particular areas that we're concerned about, the form or this area called My Menu Stats. And so by drilling into those, we can actually see which are the most popular features that are used. Not only that, we can get a chronological basis of those features being used.
Right, so I'm seeing people are using this report open a lot. So
that's
basically
right.
The reports are being used the most and help register is the least.
Yeah, that's right. So this allows you to be proactive and actually start looking at your next iteration pretty rigorously and start thinking like, okay, where are we going to innovate for V next +1?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so lots of great stuff. People can try it out today. The last thing worth noting is that we've got a free subscription model that you can actually pick up and try out. So
that makes me ask.
Yeah.
What's the damage?
That's right.
Because Elmar's free.
Yeah.
What's this going to cost me?
Yeah, so we do have a free option. It's a subscription service, and you pay by the month. There's an option to pay by year. But the way this works is, if you just want to show people the pricing, the second link at the top there called Purchase. Yeah, so we have two options here, either for all platforms. As I said before, we support everything from macOS 10 to iOS, Android, etc. So you can start off with a starter account.
That's good, or I didn't fully get that. So there is a free account if I've got up to 100 users and I only get to keep 2 weeks. Oh, there's the killer.
Yeah.
So if I just want current data, that will last. That I can live on that.
Yeah.
If I want something better, then you're paying for the amount of data used.
You're basically paying by what you require. So in this case, if you require more than say 100 users, you upgrade to the standard account version. But because it's per month, I mean, you can always just put it into your app and then see how it goes. And if you're not satisfied, you can always just pull it out. So
I've got to ask. There's you could store a lot of data. You could go crazy. A developer not using this intelligently is going to store every button that's clicked, every piece of usage, every time they filter a column.
Yeah.
You could impact your application significantly.
You can, although we do run pretty lightweight, and we do some clever things on the client side. So we'll store things in local storage, and we'll only send deltas and things like that back to our cloud servers. We try and be very, very cognizant of being as lightweight as possible. There are some cases where you can be too proactive in terms of logging, and so for that we actually provide a white paper on our website, which you can find at our resources section, that gives you guidance about how to integrate our monitoring.
Right, and do you read that after you've caused all the problems?
That's right. Yeah. A typical developer scenario. Read the manual after everything goes wrong.
Right.
So,
okay. Well, thank you very much, John. I'll be checking that out and see how it goes.
Yeah. Thank you.